Hello and welcome to our first video post for A Winning Personality. My name is Nathalie Nahai and I'm a web psychologist, which means that I'm interested in how we get persuaded to take all kinds of actions and how we behave online. I'm also interested in wider psychology and why we do the things that we do. So I'm the editor-in-chief for A Winning Personality, and that's a blog about the psychology of winning and about succeeding in life and games and sports. And it's really an interesting place to discover a little bit more about who you are and what your strengths and weaknesses are. On the blog itself, we've got all sorts of things from hacks you can use to boost your success to interviews with pro athletes and skydivers and players of all kinds of sports and games. There are also some psychological tests that you can try out for yourself to find out more about you. And a lot of these are sourced from cutting edge research and some of the sort of golden standards of psychology that have been around for years. And it's really a chance for you to find out more about yourself and figure out how you can, bolster up areas of your life that you want to, and also about your natural strengths as well. Something else that we wanted to focus on, specifically because it's a blog about winning and personality and the link between these things, was around how we can use personality traits as useful predictors of behaviour and of winning kind of behaviours. So if you understand your personality better, you can make the most out of the traits that you naturally have and help strategize around the traits that might let you down in specific situations, which is a really useful thing to be able to know. The golden standard for personality tests for a long time now has been the Big Five, which is by no means perfect, but it's the one that the academics tend to use the most often to assess personality in people from all over the world. So it began with the research of D.W. Fisk in 1949 and has been expanded upon by other researchers. And the original model included around 4,500 traits, that's a heck of a lot of traits, which were later reduced down to 35. And this was further analysed until they could be classified under 5 main categories, hence the name, the Big Five. So throughout the years, this model has been sort of basically gaining widespread acceptance through academic communities, and it started to make ground into the business and gaming worlds, which is really interesting because to date we tend to see that things like the MBTI tend to be quite common practice and sort of trying to encourage people to move away from that because there are other measures that can yield much richer and more accurate results. So it's not to say that the Big Five is perfect. In fact, there's growing support for the inclusion of a 6th trait, which is honesty, humility. And some psychologists, Ashton and Lee in 2007, said that perhaps it's worth creating an evolved hexaco model of personality. But this is something you can read about more on the blog. So I wanted to use this video post today to talk to you about the 5 different traits and how they relate to winning, so you can find out a bit more about maybe areas that you fit naturally into and areas that you could maybe improve on. So the first trait is openness. And this is your proclivity towards having new ideas, being open to new experiences. It's also associated with intellectual curiosity, and it's correlated with creativity, intelligence, and liberalism. So people who are very open to new experiences tend also to be quite creative and liberal. In terms of winning, it actually helps people to win better because it allows people to come up with creative solutions in response to challenges and helps them to create perhaps a more visionary position in terms of leadership. The second trait is conscientiousness, and this basically relates to our ability to exercise inhibition and to have executive control, so cognitive control over our environment and our behaviours and our actions. It's linked with being diligent and with responsibility. It's also linked to orderliness, and it's associated with longer-term career success. In terms of the relationship between conscientiousness and winning, it's probably the most important personality trait when it comes to winning. And conscientiousness can make up for a lack of talent in particular areas. We're not all talented in everything that we do. And it's the strongest predictor of a positive life outcome across various different fields like health, career, relationships, sexual satisfaction, all of these different areas of life. The third trait from the Big Five is agreeableness. Now, this is an indicator of kind of social brain power. So it's your ability to think about other people and to be empathetic. People who score high in agreeableness tend to be very friendly, They tend to be quite trusting and considerate and warm. And in terms of its association with winning, although disagreeable people, especially men, the research suggests, often can benefit career-wise from being less agreeable, the whole thing of nice guys finish last, etc. This trait of agreeableness can actually be beneficial for your personal life, and also it endows people with social skills that are invaluable in business. And we found in other research that if you're a woman and you're trying to get ahead, it can also be helpful to express agreeableness when you're trying to climb up the career ladder. So extraversion, the fourth trait, it's around sensitivity to positive emotions. It's to do with having sensing opportunities and feeling a sense of reward for things that are new and exciting. So these people who score highly in extraversion tend to be very sociable and happy and confident, and they tend to be the risk takers. In terms of its relationship to winning, extraversion is really important for winning when it comes to social interaction. So if the challenge that you have or the project that you're working on involves social interaction, then extraversion can come in very, very handily. It's not necessarily bad to be introverted, however, and introversion is the absence of positive affect rather than the presence of negative affect. So if you're introverted, sometimes it can help to speak out just at times when you need to speak out, and also for extroverts to kind of dial down when that is also required. The fifth and final trait is around neuroticism. So this is the degree to which you're sensitive to negative emotions. So things like threats and punishments, feeling sad, the proclivity towards feeling depressed. And it's also associated with feelings of stress, moodiness, and irritability. Now, we all have this from time to time, and this trait can fluctuate, but it's an extremely strong negative predictor of desirable life outcomes, especially things like health. So if you find that you score highly on neuroticism, it can be very helpful to find ways to lower that trait a little bit through things like cognitive behavioural therapy or finding a therapy type of practice that can help you to deal with the more negative emotional states that all of us encounter in everyday life. The relationship between neuroticism and winning is an interesting one. Although the trait can actually help you in preparing for a particular challenge and it can help in motivation, it typically is much better to be more emotionally stable. And this can be achieved through things like CBT and training and coaching. And so it's good to know how you score on these traits so that you can help yourself where you need to. I hope this has provided a bit of a whistle-stop tour into personality and how it relates to winning or success. And if you're interested in finding out more about how you score, you can actually take the test on the sites. We've got loads of links and articles and further reading. And if you want to see what traits some of our pro athletes and gamers and players and sort of all-round adventurers, what traits they express and how they manage, their different challenges, then come and have a look at awinningpersonality.com, or you can also tweet to me at the website, and I look forward to hearing from you. Hope you enjoyed the video.